We didn't do tons of good things, but I think there were some positive things out of the game. Certainly it was discouraging having Josh go down. That changed the complexion of the game without question, but injuries do happen and we need to respond better. I thought Eastern Michigan did a great job of adjusting. They didn't have their starting quarterback in there either, but they ran the ball extremely well, threw the ball well. I really was encouraged about our rushing attack. I think that can be a sign of the times, and we had a true freshman tackle in there. And so there's some positive things there, not a ton of positive things, but I appreciate the effort of a lot of young guys there in the second half. Those aren't fun times, but I thought they came out and continued to stay in the fight. And quite frankly, the way we were running the football, we had a shot to flip it around. I mean, I was counting possessions. Viggs and I were going through it, and we have a difficult time with that. Brian went down, Sean wasn't available, and we stubbed our toe. But it's a loss. It's another one, but we've got to move forward and lick our wounds and see who we got healthy to play this next week. So at this time, I'll answer any questions anybody might have.
Coach, it's a long list, but do you have any status on injuries as far as
Cam?
Yeah,
I can tell Cam, I think, will be okay next year. He would have been. It would have probably been an emergency situation. He came back further. We thought the way we were running the football that Nick could do some things. There's no doubt in my mind. I shouldn't say that. Sounds like a stretch of a statement. We're confident that Cam will be back next week. Josh, I think Josh will be out 6 to 8 weeks, so at least from the initial information I got back, which is disappointing because, from the sidelines, I really saw some real positive things. I mean, threw the ball on time. He was running the ball well. And it's going to set him back a little bit, but we'll respond. So outside of that, Eddie went down early, but he returned. I don't know, if he'll be sore tomorrow. Brian had a hyperextended elbow, but he came back in. I know we rushed for a lot. Brian Hill, 243 yards. So that's the status. Josh is the big one. And for me to say I don't know, I do know. I'm not going to look at you guys and say I don't know. I do know on that. I thought we'd have a shot with Cam this week, but Josh won't be available for quite some time.
Is it shoulder?
Yeah, it's something in the shoulder. I don't know whether I think there's a break in there. They're going to go ahead and take a look, and whether surgery is needed or not, we'll find out a lot more on Monday. But I know it's going to be an extended period of time, yes.
Is he available to potentially get a medical red shirt, or is it past where he could?
That's a good question. I think it's early in the year. My sense is that he would be eligible for that, and we'll look at that as we it's just going to be contingent upon where we're at. As a football team, we're doing everything we can. You see all the number of guys that are out there playing. We're trying to do the best we can to put ourselves in position to win.
I know the defense had just had a lot of trouble again. Some big plays were allowed, third downs, they were able to convert. A lot of the same things from last week, at least from early indications, or what were some of the? Well,
first of all, I think we need to look at our pass rush where we got the quarterback moving around. A lot of those routes got elongated, and then there's a couple busts. Now, I will say early in the game, the two big plays that occurred, kudos to them. They did an unbalanced line, and we had an uncovered receiver, and we that one was a bust, and there was another one the touchdown. It was a short touchdown, but a lot of the other ones, were third downs, quarterback scrambling around finding a guy. So we've got, I know this, 11 men against the run, 11 men against the pass. It's not all in the secondary. Certainly we want our secondary to do better, but we got to get some sacks in there also.
How big was the touchdown right after Brian? Kind of seemed like he gave you momentum out of the second half.
That one set us back a little bit. Now, our guys didn't get deterred, but that, we talked about that, and we had scored 2 touchdowns in about 2 minutes. And sometimes you don't think you can do that running. Well, when you're really running the ball well, you get somebody on their heels at 7,220 feet. I thought we really had a shot there, and it made it a lot harder after they scored a touchdown. But, yeah, that one, I wouldn't say it was a dart to heart. It was a setback, though.
What was the feeling on the sideline after you guys had allowed that 38 unanswered points?
Well, a little bit of I don't want to say deer in the headlights. Sometimes when you have some young guys out there, whether they're freshmen or redshirt freshmen, they're like, whoa. That's where we try to reestablish tempo as coaches to make sure that these guys had a plan. I told them at halftime, I said, guys, you know what, our main charge right now is just put one step in front of the other. Take one step and put it in front of the other, and at the end of the game, we're going to take a look at the scoreboard. I did tell them that score was an achievable win, though, but we weren't going to do that by trying to do it all at one time. And so it wasn't a great feeling at that time, but that's when you've got some young, immature guys, you're going to have some of that, and we've got to get these guys to continue to respond.
Craig, you mentioned, you had Wingard start, you had Phillipville back there. I know you look at the film and get a better idea, but what were your initial thoughts of their play today?
Well, I know that Andrew got called for the pass interference, but he was running with a pretty fast guy, which is encouraging. And I also saw him come out of the secondary like he was shot out of a cannon and nailed the guy, I think, on their sideline. Those are plays that we have not seen in a while. And so I was really encouraged about some of the things. Now, there's going to be some other things that Andrew didn't do great. We'll look at Pittiple, but I can tell you this, I saw Andrew Wingard, and I saw the player that he could become. And so I think that there's some real promise here.
What about, how would you evaluate offensive line play? I mean, obviously you ran the ball well, but just
I thought as the game came along, our schemes adjusted, although we stubbed our toe a little bit on one drive. But, Tyler Nestis may be not back for a while, too. We got to figure out where he's at. But Zach Wallace really came in and played well. And so, my assessment is pretty good. Pretty good job of blocking. I thought our running backs did a great job running today. And you just can't, last week we have 41 yards rushing. And I'm looking here, this is before the end of the game, it's 435 yards. And so there's some significant improvement there. And we'll build on that. And that's when the dust all settles, and we'll throw the ball better next week, when the dust all settles, that's our brand of football right there. I think everybody that was here saw a glimpse of that, and that's where we need to go.
Craig, you mentioned, kind of joked even this week, it's kind of some choppy waters right now. Let's find some things, and I know it's just 2 games, there's a lot of football left, but how is the mindset, the attitude? Are you worried about losing some of these guys, even though it's so early in the season, all the adversity that you've had?
You know what, certainly adversity. The main thing is to see some type of improvement, Robert. And when you have some guys that haven't played much before, just to have them reach down and say, hey guys, we rushed for 435 yards. We have a lot of new emerging freshmen like Andrew Wingard. You went out there and showed you can play. We'll build on those positive things. It'll be disappointing if we have some guys fall off the wagon there, but I just don't see that. I'm not saying it's easy times, but I don't see that, and that's where, as a coaching staff, we're going to move forward, and I'm going to move forward as a head football coach.
Coach, could you assess Nick Smith's play, and did him just having your third-string quarterback in there, would that affect your play calling at all?
Certainly affected it some. We didn't take as many throws downfield. Josh has got a real long arm, and Cam's capable of it. I don't know if that's Nick's forte. Kudos to him. He came in and he managed our offense. And, we didn't do a lot of it with his arm, but we did some of it with his legs. There was a couple key 4th down calls where he came up. And, you're down to your 3rd-string quarterback early in the year. Mama said there'd be days like this. Well, there's some days like this, guys. And so that's, we're going to encourage Nick. And, I thought he ran the ball well. I don't know where the passing statistics are here. I don't know if that's something that he did great, but I thought he operated our offense well. We scored 29 points.
How did you feel like the 2 missed field goals changed the complexion of the game?
We're building on a guy, and certainly getting a holding call. The 40-yarder, that was going to be a hit and miss on that. I knew that. It was disappointing when we got the holding call, and that's a very fair question, good question. I think it had an impact. Certainly, it would have changed a little bit of the complexion here on, our point total. But we got it down to where we felt like we were 2 possessions away, 2 scores, and I got news for we're probably going to run the ball, no matter what we were going to do. Probably weren't going to kick any field goals at that time.